Last 9.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast
Suckling on the teat of tech.
with Paul Brislen.
Wrapping up the year in technology, and what a high-tech year it has been with Paul Brislen. G'day,
Good
Paul.
morning.
How you doing?
I'm ho ho ho.
You're not even vertical this morning, are you?
I'm not. I'm reporting to you live from my bed where I'm having a cup of tea. It's primo, I tell you. It's Christmas at its finest.
Yeah. Are you wearing tinsel, no doubt?
A little bit of tinsel, just and a couple of antlers. You know, you can't say better than a good antlering in the
And a
morning.
bit of holly hanging from the ceiling. Is it holly?
It is holly
Yeah,
and
yeah.
ivy. Yeah,
That's it, yeah.
got to be good for you. Yes.
Well, let's look at the main points in technology for the year. The big developments, the stuff that seem to matter to most people. Probably social media would be the
That's
big
right.
one.
It's definitely been the year of social media, hasn't it? It's gone from being that thing you make fun of to something that's just built into practically every component of mainstream media and every component of everyday life. Facebook's hit 500 million users, regularly updating.
They are
500 million
users, aren't they? Like needles.
They are indeed. But I'm just staggered that people have that much time on their hands to faff about telling you about their innermost workings and posting photos. And I often think of Facebook as being the internet for people who don't like to go on the internet, because it's like a little microcosm, a little safe harbour for people to have a bit of a play with the internet without actually going out into the big scary world.
Excuse me, what's that? I'm just updating my status.
Oh, listen, on the radio. Yeah, so, you know...
Talking to Paul Brislen.
But it's a bit like cell phones used to be, isn't it? You know, everybody like to mock. Oh, yes, what are you going to be saying on your cell phone? I'm on the train, I'll be home soon, you know. But in fact, it's actually quite useful. It's companies are using it to talk to customers. Customers are using it to badger companies. They're talking to friends they haven't seen for years.
I
It's a
saw
lot more.
a stat bandied around yesterday saying that that people are talking to companies, but 70% of the time the companies aren't talking back.
Well, there is a lot of that, isn't there? There's a lot of fear out there in company land, I can tell you, about, well, if we talk to the customers, they might ask another question, and then what will we do?
Yeah.
The simple answer, of course, is whether you answer it, and then you have a conversation, but a lot of companies don't like to go down that track. It's all a bit scary. But Twitter's also blossomed. It's gone from being 140 characters to, $4 billion or something ridiculous practically overnight. It's now valued far above and beyond what it's actually worth, as is the way with most .com things, I find.
But you know what? No matter how many celebrities get on there and Oprah mentions of Twitter, it still doesn't seem like it's fully mainstreamized like Facebook is.
No, that's right. It's still very much, I guess, because you can't do all those other things with it, like slap advertising all over it and build applications for it and all that kind of thing. It really still is the sort of person-to-person communication. Yeah. The holy cow, take a look at this, and there you've got photos of a plane landing on the Hudson River, or a volcano erupting, or some celebrity you've just spied on the street downtown. And the power of things like Twitter in particular is that they become so immediate. It's now my news source. You know, I will find out what's going on in the world first from Twitter, and then I'll have a look at the mainstream media. Primarily because it's a giant news feed. Yeah. There's a cute cartoon from XKCD, which is one of my favourite online cartoons, about somebody who knows an earthquake's just happened because the Twitter stream moves faster than the physical vibration in the ground. Yeah. So any second now, here it comes. Yes, Twitter tells me there it is. And certainly watching the Canterbury earthquake and trying to make contact with people via social media made it that much more immediate to everybody around the country, I think. Yeah. It was really quite phenomenal.
Well, of course, a lot of people were doing this stuff on social media on mobile devices, and 2010 has seen the rise and rise and rise and rise of the mobile device.
It really has, hasn't it? And that's really, the two do go hand in glove, because the immediacy of social media meant that you wanted to be able to do it wherever you are, and the rise of the smartphone means that you can. And if you think back not so very long ago, when the smartphone was the BlackBerry and nothing else, the landscape's changed hugely in the last 12 months, hasn't it? It's quite remarkable. Gone are the days where it was a BlackBerry versus Microsoft world, and Microsoft really wasn't in the running because it was kind of there, but it was very geeky. That's all gone. We've got Apple dominating the headlines, if not, and sales figures, if not actual number of units in play at the moment. We've got Google swinging in from one side as well with the Android, and that's just gone bananas. We've got Microsoft relaunching with Windows Phone 7, and actually getting it mostly right, I have to say, compared with their previous ventures into this territory. Nokia is still sitting on the sidelines saying, hang on, wait a minute, we're still really big. Wait a minute, what about us?
Yeah.
And poor old BlackBerry's sitting there saying, RIM in Canada, saying, well, we better get our act together in a hurry, or we're dog meat.
Yeah.
And I fear that they possibly are. They will become a niche player in what has become the new cell phone market.
And along with the phones are the bigger devices, but mobile being the iPad, which was meant to change the world, and now the Android pads that are coming to, or tablets that are coming along with that as well.
Exactly. And really delivering on that promise of mobile computing. All those things that you always thought of as science fiction that you can actually do. The iPad is very, very good at that. It's quite big. It's not the device you discreetly pull out in a meeting to just play a quick game of Angry Birds, unless of course you're a prime minister of a certain country or two. But the Androids are looking at being half that size, and that sort of brings it down almost to the realm of, well, this could be the only device I bother with. It's big enough to read books and documents on, but it's small enough that I can carry it in my pocket.
Yeah.
So that has really changed a lot of things, and changed the dynamics of the telco market in particular, as they struggle to understand just how people want to use their what is no longer a phone. In effect, the phones are kind of an add-on. Oh yes, look, it does voice as well. Oh, how quaint!
And all these devices are connected to the internet, and it was towards the end of 2010 where real questions started to be raised about censorship and net neutrality on the internet. I'm thinking WikiLeaks, but also on the net neutrality side of things with ISPs starting to filter content.
That's dead right, and we've got a variety of fairly major forces coming to play here. You've got the copyright issues around, so a large percentage of the traffic is people sharing files they shouldn't be sharing. You've got issues like privacy and security online, and WikiLeaks has blown the lid off a lot of that. It seems to be okay for the governments to gather information on everybody and share it amongst themselves. But when it comes to having their own in-house laundry exposed, they get very, very shirty. And I see the Americans are now calling Julian Assange a terrorist and should be treated as such, which seems to be a little bit extreme, if you ask me. If it was, there's a lovely post online about if this was the New York Times that had come across all of these documents, we would be howling for freedom of speech and protection of the press.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead, they're trying to paint him as some kind of killer of small children, which is really quite remarkable. But these things are all coming together, and net neutrality is key to all of this, I think, because we're talking about being able to discriminate between types of data. It's not that all data is the same anymore. Video may have different requirements to voice, which will have different requirements to sending an email and just surfing the net. And the telcos are quite keen on making sure that they get a clip of that ticket. So the next year, I think, will be a big battleground for issues like net neutrality and copyright in particular, and traffic management, as people start to do a lot more with a lot more devices in a lot more places. We're going to see a huge boon in the amount of traffic on the network as everybody moves to high-definition video.
Indeed.
It's really going to be quite tremendous.
It will be another exciting year. That's pretty much guaranteed, Paul.
It's never dull.
And hopefully you'll be here to cover most of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Cheers.
I'm not going anywhere. It's far too much fun.
Have a great Christmas.
And you, take care.
Get out of bed sometime.
Oh, eventually. Maybe tomorrow.
We'll see you next year. That's Paul Brislen, twitter.com/Paul Brislen.